Alrighty, guys, this message requires your attention because we are 7-0 in our last 7 crowd pleaser teasers on my website. I'll explain a little bit more about that in just a moment, but before we go ahead and move on, just want to take a quick time out and welcome you to the video here today for Wednesday, October 26, 2022. As always, my name is Brock Page, and I've been doing sports picks for free on YouTube since 2016. I also sell my personal sports bets on patreon.com/BrockPage. Once again, guys, we are 7-0 in our last 7 crowd pleaser teasers on my website. Now, what we do is we go ahead and we select 2 games, we move the line, and then we parlay it together. I've been doing that, for a while, and we won our last 7 straight bets when I do that. It's my crowd pleaser teaser package. I'm going to include a link for that package in the description section below. Normally, I'm very calm and collected, and I can get my words out, but I'm, so fired up, so excited about what's going on here. But anyway, I will include a link for that package in the description section below. You have to know about it. You don't have to sign up, but I would not be doing you due diligence if I didn't at least let you know that I've been absolutely fire in that package. 7-0, my last 7 crowd pleaser teasers. Link for that bet is in the description section below. And with that, guys, we're going to go ahead and dive into some free content. Now, we're going to go ahead and break down our NBA free plays into 2 videos here today, a part 1 and a part 2. So you're actually watching part 1 right now. And we're going to take a look at the Hawks at the Pistons, 7 o'clock Eastern tip-off. Atlanta's minus 7.5, totals 231. Now, the Hawks got the W in 2 out of their last 3 victories against the likes of Orlando and Houston. So they've proven they can beat lower caliber teams and take care of business. They did exactly what they're supposed to do against those bad teams. Now, Trae Young, he's leading the squad in scoring and assists. He's actually dropping 25 points a game, and he's averaging nearly a dozen assists per contest. Meanwhile, John Collins, he continues to perform very well underneath the basket. He's averaging double-digit rebounds on the year already. When it comes to defensive play, the Hawks are limiting their competition to just 29% shooting from 3 land. They're facing a Detroit squad on the other side who's in the second of a back-to-back here today, and they have significant problems shooting the basketball. They're actually in the bottom 3 in the NBA in offensive field goal percentage. And when it comes to rebounding the basketball, not many teams do it worse on the defensive end of the court than Detroit right now. Now, injury-wise, Alec Burks is questionable for Detroit. Justin Holiday questionable for Atlanta. When it comes to the total, Atlanta saw 2 out of their last 3 stay under the number. Meanwhile, Detroit saw their contest yesterday with Washington stay under the line themselves. I'm going to lean toward Atlanta, minus 7.5, under 231. Next matchup, it is going to be Magic at the Cavaliers, 7 o'clock Eastern tip-off in Cleveland. Now, the Cavs are minus 8 at home, totals 214. And the Cavaliers should dominate this game here today. They're actually leading the NBA right now in offensive three-point percentage. Donovan Mitchell's drilling over 42% of his three-pointers. He's also averaging 33 points a night. Meanwhile, Sadie Osman's connecting on 57% of his shots from downtown off the bench. When it comes to rebounding the basketball, the Cavaliers have been dominant getting boards on defense. They're actually in the top 3 right now in the league in defensive rebounding per contest. They're facing a winless Orlando squad who continues to struggle getting to the basket themselves. These guys are in the bottom 5 in scoring, and they're shooting only 30% from beyond the arc. Now, when it comes to covering the number, Orlando failed to cover in 3 out of their 4 losses this year. When it comes to the injury report, Harris, Isaac, Fultz, Suggs, and Mo Wagner, they're out today for Orlando. Meanwhile, for Cleveland, Windler and Garland are out for them. When it comes to the total on this one, Cleveland went 7-3 to the under in their last 10 meetings with Orlando. So if you're into historical trends, certainly want to think about that one there. Meanwhile, the Magic saw 2 out of their last 3 stay under the total themselves. Unders against the likes of New York and Atlanta. I'm going to go ahead and lean toward Cleveland, -8, and the under 214 in the tight window. Next game, Hornets, Knicks, 7:30 p.m. East. The New York Knicks are -7, totals 224.5. And even though the Knicks are favored in this one, they've been little threat shooting the long ball. These guys are currently in the bottom 10 in three-point shooting. Meanwhile, defensively on the other end of the court, they're amongst the worst in the league in getting rebounds. They're facing a Charlotte team on the other side of things who's scoring more points a game than any other team in basketball. They're also shooting 50% from the field, and they rank in the top 3 in making the three ball. Kelly Oubre is knocking down 40% of his three-pointers this year. Meanwhile, Gordon Hayward's averaging nearly 20 points a game. And when it comes to defensive play, quite different than last year. Charlotte's limiting their competition to just 25% shooting from beyond the arc. So look for them to really be able to shut down New York from long range, as like I said earlier, the Knicks do not shoot well from downtown. Now, injury-wise, Terry Rozier is doubtful. That's why you're seeing such line movement toward the Knicks and the under. Meanwhile, for New York on the other side, Quentin Grimes, he's out with a foot. When it comes to the total, 2 out of New York's last 3 did get over the number. Meanwhile, Charlotte saw all 3 of their games this year get over the total themselves. I'm going to lean toward Charlotte +7, keeping this one close, over 224.5. And with that, guys, we're going to jump into our next and final breakdown for part 1. It is going to be Sixers at the Raptors, 7:30 Eastern start time. Philadelphia is -1, totals 214. And even though they are the slight favorite on the road here, the Sixers are going to get out-rebounded on the offensive end of the court. At least there's a high probability that they will, because these guys are dead last in the league right now in offensive boards, and they're going up against one of the better defensive rebounding teams in the East. Now, scoring-wise, the Sixers are also toward the bottom of the barrel in points per game in the East as well. Certainly some problems in the early going here for Philly. Now, they're facing a Toronto team on the other side who's played some really tough defense in the early going here. They're actually in the top 3 in fewest points allowed. Meanwhile, offensively, these guys have been drilling the three ball. They're making over 40% of their three-point shots. And they're led by Freddie Van Fleet, who's making half of his long-distance shots this year, shooting 50% from beyond the arc. And when it comes to the scoring, Pascal Siakam, he's this team's top scorer right now. He's getting nearly 27 points a night. Now, injury-wise, Porter and Barnes are questionable for the Raptors. Meanwhile, for Philly, DeAnthony Melton is questionable for them. When it comes to the total in this one, Philly saw all of their games this season stay under the number. Meanwhile, on the other side of things, Toronto's seen their fair share of unders as well. The Raptors are actually 3-1 to the under in their last 4. I do really look for these Toronto fans to be quite obnoxious tonight. They really gave it to the Sixers in the playoffs last year, despite getting bodied and eliminated. So I look for a raucous crowd here tonight. Going to take some personal shots at Joel Embiid, I'm sure. I'm going to lean toward Toronto +1, under 214. And with that, guys, now it's time for our quick pick recap for part 1. I like Atlanta, -7.5, under 231. Give me Cleveland, -8, under 214. Charlotte, +7, over 224.5. And before I give you my next and final free pick for the video, one final reminder that, guys, we are 7-0 in our last 7 crowd pleaser teasers on my website. Give me Toronto +1, under 214. And with that, guys, that's going to do it for me. Don't forget to check me out on patreon.com/BrockPage. Now, guys, just keep in mind, if you do sign up for that crowd pleaser teaser here today, you're going to get access to all the cheaper memberships on my site absolutely free. That's kind of how Patreon works. If you sign up for a membership, all the cheaper memberships are included with your purchase. And once again, guys, I'm going to include a link for that package in the description section below. But most importantly, guys, got to thank you for joining me right here on YouTube. Really hope you enjoyed all this great free content, all this great free information. And with that said, guys, happy Wednesday to you. Happy hump day to you. I look forward to seeing you later on today on my website at patreon.com/BrockPage.